Hello, I'm going to be reviewing the 2019 crime slash drama biopic called Charlie Says. It's a biopic about the Manson family and the murders, but it's told from the his followers' perspective, or his female followers at least. The movie is directed by Mary Herron and written by Guinevere Turner. They were the team that wrote and directed American Psycho. And that was the movie that they were pushing, the advertising for this movie to get people to watch it. The movie also stars Matt Smith as Charles Manson, uh, Hannah Murray as Leslie Van Houten, Sosie Bacon as Patricia Quinwinkle, Grace Van Dien as Sharon Tate, Marianne Rendon as Susan Atkins, Chase Crawford as Tex Watson, and Merritt Weaver as Carlene Faith. And then Kaylee Carter as Squeaky Fromm. There's more people in it, but those are like the major players. Well, even Sharon Tate doesn't get much screen time in the movie, but I'll figure out who played her in that small scene in the movie. And then I should mention the guy who played Jade Sebring. His name is Lindsay Ferris, but he didn't have much screen time either. So I heard about this movie around last year. I seen a few articles for it, and because for some reason there's this new wave of not just serial killer movies, but movies based around Charles Manson. Sorry, my eyes get watery. I don't know why. There's this movie. Then there's that Quentin Tarantino movie called Once Upon a Time in Hollywood that has some things about the Manson family in it. One of the new season of Mindhunter is supposed to have something about Charles Manson. Not last year, but in 2017, American Horror Story season Cult has an episode about Charles Manson. And so there was just like a bunch of stuff about Charles Manson coming out, and I heard about this movie, and I had little interest in seeing it, but I heard that it was going to be directed by, Mary Herron, who also directed American Psycho, and I liked that movie, and it's going to be written by the same woman that wrote American Psycho, so I was kind of interested. Then they announced that Matt Smith was supposed to be playing Charles Manson, and I know Matt Smith he played one of the incarnations of the Doctor on Doctor Who. He's on a show called The Crown, which I haven't seen. I've only seen like a few episodes of Doctor Who with him in it. And he also had a small part in Terminator Genesis. And I think he played in another movie, like sci-fi kind of movie. I forgot, but anyways. So I was kind of interested. It was kind of like with the Zac Efron thing, because I've never seen Zac Efron play like a serious role before, so it was interesting. And I don't know much about Matt Smith's filmography, but I've mainly known him as one of the doctors from Doctor Who, so I was kind of interested in seeing this. Now the movie, like I said, is told from the female follower's perspective. It's based on 2 books, and I didn't write them down. I can't find them, but it's at the end credits. So I haven't read those books, so I don't know how accurate it is, but this movie was pretty damn good. It's basically told from Leslie Van Houten's perspective, who's played by, I think it's Hannah Murray. And I heard some people say that she was on Game of Thrones, which I never seen that show. And yes, I don't care. I'll probably watch it eventually, but she is basically, it starts off with them. There's this woman named Carlene Faith, who's played by Marriott Weaver, which I've seen her. She was in season 7 of The Walking Dead. Um, she works in this prison, and it's after the murders happen. So, the three Manson girls, Leslie, Patricia, and Susan, are all on death row in the same cell block. But because they took away the death penalty, they're basically just sitting in there because they don't want to put them in general population or in a special unit for them because they fear that they're dangerous and they're still brainwashed. So they're sitting. So they recruit Carlene to go talk to him and teach him college courses and stuff to educate him, to kind of break him out of this brainwashing thing. So she goes and talks to him, and she finds out that they're still like heavily brainwashed. Because anytime she brings up something like, oh, you have to read books, and they said, well, oh, Charlie didn't let us read books. And they're like, the only book that he let us read was the Bible. And every time they said something, or they need to do something, they always said, Charlie said this, Charlie said that. And then it flashes back to when mainly from Leslie's perspective, it flashes back to when she first met Charlie, and like, it shows you like how they were slowly brainwashed by him, and you could see how he was charismatic, but you can also tell that this dude was a piece of shit. Like, he was just a straight up asshole. He was, very controlling, very abusive, and not physically all the time. There's one scene where he does get physical with one of his followers, but most of it is like emotional abuse and verbal put downs and stuff like that. And it just shows you like how he slowly brainwashed them, and how he slowly got crazier and crazier, and he was just falling into his own delusions until he finally sparks up the idea to go, hey, let's go get revenge on these rich people that are putting us down, kind of thing. um I know I do have some interest in the Charles Manson case. It's not like one that I'm heavily invested in, but I have read a lot of stuff and watched some documentaries about it. So they do get a lot of things correct. And I think because we weren't there when Manson was controlling these, gathering his followers and brainwashing them, so we don't know how he really acted around them. But I think they did a great job of showing him as, that he was charismatic, and you can see why they would fall into his trap, because he was like a father figure to him. But then you could quickly see, like how most cult leaders are, that he was sick, like he was mentally ill, and he was falling into his own delusions. One thing I do like about this movie, that was a quick synopsis, I'm sorry, but one thing I do like about this movie is that all the characters look natural. Like, they don't have a bunch of makeup on. They look like the actual people, or how people, I guess, his family members would look. Like, they don't wear makeup. They just look natural, and I don't know, they just look realistic. They do, like, how they dress too, look like the time period accurate with, the, like, hippie clothing. They do look kind of dirty and stuff. I like the setting of Spawn Ranch. It looks actually like Spawn Ranch, and that's where Manson stayed with his family, was Spawn Ranch. It was a movie, I think it was an old movie set. I also liked how, like I said, Spawn Ranch looked, and just like the whole feel of the movie, because it's set in, during the summertime, because the murders happened in August, like late August, I think. I forgot the exact date, but it just feels hot and sweaty and disgusting, and there's a hazy tint to the film, and it's dusty because they live on in a desert area, and it just feels like someone said, like, if or someone said before, like, it feels like a movie that was made during that time period. Also the acting was really good. Uh, because especially like when they're brainwashed and stuff, because I've seen footage of the women when they were when they were obsessed with Charles Manson. That seemed really accurate to how they were behaving. There's actually a scene too where they shave their heads. There's like a famous news story where the three women that committed the murders, they're walking out and they shave their heads for Charles Manson. They show like a scene of that. Well, just them stepping out the jail cell and their heads are shaved. Um, Now the best thing in this movie to me is Matt Smith's portrayal as Charles Manson. He lost himself in this role. Like, I promised you, when I was watching this movie, it sometimes felt like I was actually watching Manson. He looks like Manson. Now, like, Zac Efron kind of looked like Ted Bundy in some shots. And I'm gonna keep comparing it because the movies are kind of similar. But Matt Smith looked exactly like Manson. Like, it was so eerie. God, I hate when my eyes do that. Sorry. But, his, gave him, like, the long hair and the clothing like Manson wore. But the thing that really got to me was his eyes. Like, if you watch footage of Manson, like, in interviews and stuff, like, his eyes, like, tell a lot. They're, like, very expressive, and that's what Matt Smith got down really well. And also his mannerisms, with the herky-jerky crap going on. He got that down really well, and how Manson moved. The other impressive thing was how much he sounded like Manson. He got his accent down and the cadence of how he talked. I promise you, I would say watch footage of Manson and then watch footage of Matt Smith side by side, and it's kind of hard to tell. I know it's an actor in the movie, but it's kind of hard to tell sometimes that that's an actor. Um, Sorry. I hate when my eyes do that. But, so, I thought, like I said, I thought all the acting was really well done. Like, with the women and all that. Now, they do show a little bit of violence in this movie, but most of it is just like the lead up to they show the aftermath of the Sharon Tate murders, but they do show them like harassing Sharon Tate, and they show her like, I'm gonna spoil this, but they do show them cutting Sharon Tate's face, but then it cuts away, and that's it. Then it shows like the Tate LaBianca, or the not the Tate, the LaBianca murders, and that was mainly just the lead up to it, like how they were tying them up and putting bags on their heads and all that. And there is a scene, I want to spoil this too, where they do show Leslie stabbing Miss LaBianca, but it's cutaways, and you just see the blood splash in her face. I mean, it is kind of disturbing, but I thought that they did it tastefully, in my opinion. Like, I know it's weird, because it's a movie about, a mass murderer in cult, but I thought they did it tastefully, that they didn't show the murders. Like, they just showed the lead ups and just a little bit. They didn't linger on it. Um, yeah, I would highly recommend this movie. Um, it's one of the better serial killer or cult leader mass murdering killer kind of mass murderer movies out there. I don't really know what to call it because Manson's not a serial killer and he was a cult leader, but I guess he'd be cult leader slash mass murderer movie kind of thing. Um, yeah, I thought it didn't get much press. Like, I didn't even know that this movie came out on VOD until my sister told me because she saw like a teaser trailer for it on Facebook, and she goes, "Oh, look, there's this movie about Charles Manson." And I said, "Oh yeah, I heard about it, but I didn't know that it went on VOD on May 10th, and I just found out about it recently." Uh, but yeah, like I said, I would highly recommend it. But anyways, that's my review.